having those conversations, normalizing the money conversations every now and then, training the kids to hear about that.
You can give the best advice to your kids, but if they're not willing to hear it, there's nothing you can do.
My mom thought that he had it under control, and my mom thought that he had it under control. But in reality, nobody had anything under control.
Like, how do we actually get in touch with what we want? Hi, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Pick Now podcast. I am your host, Jeff Munn, and today our guest is Elke Rubach. She is the founder of, I wrote it down here, it's a long name, Rubach Wealth Holistic Family Advisors. Hopefully I didn't butcher that too much, Elke. Welcome to the Pick Now podcast. And thank you for returning the favor. I was on your podcast a few months ago. So now we get to dig into your psyche rather than digging into mine.
I didn't know you offer psychological services, but thank you for having me. It's a pleasure.
You're welcome. So you're my favorite kind of guest because you're not only a founder, and a lot of my audience is founders, but you're also doing something that a lot of my audience may need at some point and probably already need. So we'll focus more on your journey as a founder, but if you want to put in a little plug for what you do here and there, that is more than welcome as well. So first question for you, like, what's your origin story? What is the thing that you think inspired you to do and do what you do today and create this firm to help people?
Okay, so let me give you the scenic route because
that's fine. We've got plenty of time.
It has a lot of turns and bumps and hoops and hurdles and batches and anyway, but it's all fun. I'm originally from Mexico, born and raised in Mexico, and I was working at a corporate commercial law firm. And normal people, once you're, after a few years of working there, you go and you do your master's in the US, and then you work in New York for an associate, and then you go back to Mexico to partnership track.
Okay, so this was a big firm if you have an office in New York.
Yeah, well, they do kind of like exchanges. It's
gotcha.
A thing.
Okay,
it's a thing.
Okay,
and
gotcha.
Being myself, I said, I don't want to go to the US. So I applied to the London School of Economics. I got a scholarship, and the British government gave me another scholarship. So I even made money with my master's degree, did my LLM in London. And then I didn't want to go back to Mexico. I was madly in love with London. So I started working at a Canadian law firm in London.
Okay.
That's a couple of decades ago. Anyway, long story short, Argentina goes belly up, and I started helping the team that was working with a Canadian bank with their exit from Argentina. And because of language and civil law background, they asked me to come to Canada for a year. That was 23 years ago, and 3 kids.
Okay.
And I'm still here. Anyway, I stayed at the firm for a few more years. Then I moved to one of the banks, and although my job sounded like hell, it was a lot of fun because I was the bridge between clients and advisors, making sure that the advice was compliant and, according to the rules and so on. And it usually was, but I realized very quickly that people make financial decisions without a plan, without clarity, and just saying yes to situations without thoroughly and really understanding what they were getting into, implications, and just looking at the short-term impact of their decisions, but not a generation or two or so. So the job was never boring. It ranged from, a poorly placed trade to discretionary trading, unsuitability, death threats in writing. That was fun.
Wow. Okay, yeah.
It was a lot of fun. So there was always something new, and that I liked. But when I had my 3rd child and was supposed to come back from mat leave, I realized that I was much more entrepreneurial than working for a big bank. So I said, I'm going to be a stay-home mom. That's it. And I remember my ex's face of panic, going like, "Oh no, this is really not a good idea." I'm like, no, I got this. Watch me go. So day 1, Lululemon outfit, joined the gym, take kid to daycare, grocery shopping, pick up the kid, home. Day 1, check. Day 2, well, I don't need more groceries. I don't need to go to Lululemon. I drop off the kid at daycare, and then I go to the gym, and then half day's done, and I'm starting to get itchy. Third day, I call this crew because it's a great idea to renovate the house. So I had 30 people hanging off the wall.
Sure.
So my stay home idea was not supported in the least. But then at that point, talking to him, I said, well, okay, this thing of staying home is really not for me. The days are really long and I need to do something. So he said, why don't you talk to this lady who does insurance? I remember looking at him I'm like, are you high? I'm a lawyer. I don't sell insurance. What's wrong with your head? He goes, listen, talk to her. She has 3 kids. See what she has to say and see where this goes. So I met with this person and she was lovely. And I realized, the ability and the power of what you can do, not only with insurance, but the whole planning and everything, the power of proper planning. So I got home. He says, how did it go? Fine. So I will have to do a course and then you get a license. And so I started and I did the license and so on. For the first few years, I didn't really do much of selling, but it was really understanding the power of what you can do with a plan. Fast track it 4 or 5 years later, fully licensed for asset management and insurance and planning and with all of my designations. Everybody would ask me, like, what do you do? And I'm like, well, I do a lot. But that was not a good answer. So I hired a brand specialist. And lo and behold, it came out that what happened in my childhood was my dad died he died at my age right now, right? And I guess my mom thought that he had it under control and my mom thought that he had it under control. But in reality, nobody had anything under control. And although there were assets, these things started disappearing. And there was stress and the unknown and moving houses and a lot of chaos that could have been easily prevented. Now knowing that if you listen and you have a plan, it doesn't matter how affluent you are, there's a minimum level of financial planning that you owe to yourself and at the very, 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 very minimum to your children. Like if you're willing to have kids, you are responsible for them, period.
Right.
So that's kind of like how it all came together. But
can I ask you a question, Elke? Because I think I just noticed that you didn't mention your father and what happened to you. The way you just portrayed it to me, it was like you didn't realize that happened until a brand expert pointed it out to you. Was it really that kind of aha? Like, oh, wow, that's fascinating. Like the things that we don't see about ourselves that an outsider can see, like probably in the span of like 1 or 2 meetings, right?
Well, it was a little bit that, and also the fact that you're busy building the business. You're busy creating the vision and bringing the message to people. And I remember
all these different pieces that you had, right?
And 3 kids, ages 1, 3, and 5 at the time.
Right. Yeah.
And then you're the Wonder Woman and you can do it all. And then you don't realize that when people didn't listen to my advice, I would get actually angry. I'm like, you're wrecking your children. And at some point, the tagline was, you're not the client, because the client ultimately is the kid. For the plan to work, and if mom and dad go, the clients are the kids, right? And you need to make sure that you can tell the kids, listen, I'm sorry, but there's plan A, B, C, D, E, and you're going to be fine. Anyway, that tagline has since dropped, but I still believe that as a parent, you need to avoid chaos, right? Now, do I hate my parents? No, things happen and what can you do? And they build character and you can either be a victim or work through it and build on it. But initially I was very, very, very angry when people didn't listen to the most obvious advice that get a will, I'm not saying get insurance to make everyone rich, but at least enough to avoid fire sales. and
Right.
stress. And, when people die, let them just be sad, not sad and angry and stressed and confused and what's going on. So
What was the thing that you would hear from people if you would say, come on, do the bare minimum? What was the reason that they would tell you for not doing it? Was it just like, not yet, or I'll do that later, or I'm too busy right now? Like what kind of things did you hear?
I think it's a combination. I would say we do have a will. Okay, when was the last time you looked at it?
Yeah.
And they'd be like,
it's in my lockbox that I haven't opened in 10 years.
And since then, they've had 3 kids, 2 are of
Right.
age, and 1 has special needs, right? Or whatever the situation is. And there's nothing wrong with looking at a will. First of all, have one. It's better having one than none.
Yeah.
Obviously, there's a fear talking about your mortality. We just don't know. And my point is, you're going to have a legacy. It can be a good one or it can be a messy one. You pick.
Right. Or it could be one you design or one that's decided for you.
And even the most organized plan, I have people who have color-coded folders for everything with passwords and so on. It gets complicated, right? The government will get involved. There will be probate. There will be things that need to happen and emotions. And when it's your own thing, it gets messy. But even the most organized of plans can get tricky. I would get I have a will, or I don't want to pay a lawyer for a will. So I'm going to go to, the corner store and buy one of those will kits. I'm like, okay, that's a bad idea. I don't believe in insurance. I don't need insurance. I have insurance through work.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then you say, okay, what kind of insurance do you have? Oh, I have $5 million through work.
Mm-hmm.
And when you look at the policy, they have $50,000. So what story would you like me to tell your spouse if something happens to you and she thinks she's getting $5 million, then she's going to get $50,000?
Yeah.
Right. So it's a fight, a battle between admitting your vulnerability, I haven't had time to deal with it. I don't want to think about my death. I'm too busy. I have clients to deal with, business to build, and we do get busy. But when you realize that the same way it takes a village to raise a family, it takes a village to have your plan in what I call get your house in order and have all the pieces continuously tightened. Every house needs always plumbing, painting, repairing, renovations, changing the floor, refinishing the floors. Same thing with your financial plan, your financial life. Look at your will. If it's fine, great. If it's not, fix it. Your insurance don't make sure that you need what you have and you have what you need. And you're not the only one who knows what's going on. Because once that head is not thinking because it's dead, how are we going to get all that information out of that head? So yeah, there you go. That was my scenic route.
Yeah. Well, so you what year was it 2012 you started it? Am I remembering that right? Okay. And so how did it grow and develop and come along? And how did you grow and develop and come along in the process?
I think like every business, at the beginning, I spent a lot of time learning. I'm a perennial learner. I like to read and learn things that are related and unrelated. But I think the first few years, you need to prove yourself. And the challenge in this industry is that once you have literally a license to sell, you think you can go out and talk to anyone and sell stuff. The problem is that an insurance policy that is sold incorrectly can really wreck a family. The same way investment advice given wrong can destroy wealth. I spent at the beginning more time learning what I do and how powerful this all is than approaching people. Also, you need to build credibility. People need to know that you're going to be around for a while. Like whether it's insurance planning, asset management, estate planning, tax advice, whatever it is, or building, I don't know, widgets for whatever computer parts, your clients need to know that you're going to stick around. You're not just, today you're a financial advisor, tomorrow you sell Tupperwares, and the next week you are training SEALs how to clap. Because some people do tend to hop around, right? So once you've established certain seniority, you've seen enough cases. I mean, every person who's been in the financial world, particularly in insurance, the first death claim you pay changes your life. You realize that I'm like, okay, this is real. And I've never, ever, ever, ever seen anyone come back and say, oh no, we were overinsured. Please send some money back.
Right. When did that happen for you? So you start the firm in 2012. When was your first claim of that nature?
2015.
Okay. And I think you highlighted something really interesting, especially if you're transitioning between careers or you're doing something different, right? You obviously had a tremendous number of credentials going into this. And yet, in some very important ways, you were a beginner.
Yeah.
Was that hard for you to navigate, like psychologically, to think, hey, I've done all this stuff and I'm just getting started in this new thing?
Well, I think that's the honest thing to do. I mean, I know a
lot of people have trouble with it. I know I did.
Yeah, I know it's like the entry barrier to any of these industries is very low. You know, there are courses that tell you how to answer these exams and how to answer the questions, and you're doing the bare minimum. But you literally have a license to kill. If you do something wrong, it can really wreck a family. So I think the other thing that has changed is that, 12, 13 years ago, I had a certain life experience. Now I have a very different life experience, right? My kids have grown. I've gone through divorce. I've, moved houses, learned languages, made a different set of friends, because life happens. And all those things require tightening your financial house. And if I'm telling my clients, what's your succession plan? I would be an absolute hypocrite if I didn't have my own. So I'm constantly, I make it a sport to look at my will every 2 years or so on. And the first time you look at it, you're like, bleh. But now it's like, oh yeah, still good.
Is that what you recommend every 2 years, or like for the typical person? 2 years, 5 years, what? Certainly no more than 5, I would think.
Well, for sure. And especially if you have kids, right? And in my case, this time it was a year because one of my kids became of age, and that changes everything. My last will said that if something happened to my kids, and obviously their dad was not around, like he gets first dibs, I guess. My kids would go to my sister who lives in Mexico. I can't pull my kids now at the ages of 17 and 15 and send them to Mexico. They don't belong there. That's crazy. So you have to adjust. Is there a perfect solution? No. But a solution better than no solution, because then the government decides for you, and that's not good, right? Somebody who doesn't even know you, who you never got to discuss your wishes with. That's the other thing. People don't talk about money. People don't talk about heirlooms. And that's when families fall apart, because they're fighting over grandma's red couch that had the cigarette burn. And that's what breaks families apart. So having those conversations, normalizing the money conversations, understanding, cash flows, and understanding debt and what's good debt and what's bad debt, and compounding of interest, and normalizing that in the family. I'm not saying we talk about money every single day. That would be pathetic. But every now and then, training the kids to hear about that, because then they'll understand how hard it is to build a business, how annoying it is to get your tax bill every quarter or every year and then you just see how the money's being spent irresponsibly by the government, and that it makes my blood boil 10 times over. But they know, and I'm very vocal about it, but not that they care anyway.
There's great advice that you can. I was just talking with someone about this the other day. Like you can give the best advice to your kids, but if they're not willing to hear it, there's nothing you can do.
No, I was talking about politicians. I would love them to.
Oh, okay. Well, money, that's true. True. That as well.
As if it was their money, because I'm sure they would be wasting a lot less. No, actually, my kids are I mean, every kid is different, right? It's not magic. One is
Yeah.
super frugal. The other one is super generous. Like if he has $5, he cannot have money in his hands. He will go buy hot chocolate for the homeless, for the dude walking by, for just
Yeah.
in case something happens.
Yeah.
And the little one, she's a work in progress. We don't know. I don't know yet if she wants to spend or not or what. But anyway, it's normalizing the money conversation and understanding, you know, and showing them what a will is and how it works. And because
Hmm.
the worst time to find out things is when people are gone.
Right. How much do you think this conversation, there's a conversation about money. There's also a conversation about what you actually want out of life, about your values, about your beliefs. I mean, all these things get tied together. Like money is almost like the output of those earlier conversations. When you're working with someone, how much are you having those kinds of conversations? I mean, when I'm coaching someone, like what they want is a pretty important thing.
Yeah.
I have to think that's true in your world as well.
Absolutely. Like one of the questions we ask is, you know, what are you proud of? And
Yeah, great question.
and what defines your family? And very often, I would say more often than not, people stop and they're like, I actually don't know.
Uh-huh.
So, and then my job is to ask questions, not guide them in that sense, right? Because I don't know. And I
Right.
tell them
And
if
to slow them down enough that they actually think about the answers. I think that's the thing that gets in a lot of people's way is we're kind of on automatic pilot, doing the things that we've been told we need to do to get the results we've been told we need to want, and we don't question it.
Yeah. And there are, like, even on Amazon, you can buy these values cards and you can play with them. Literally, it's a deck of cards, like, you know, gratitude and family and authenticity and fun and whatever. And then you sit the family around the table and you say, okay, let's pick, you know, out of the 80 cards, let's get rid of 50. And then we get rid of another 15. And then you boil it down to 10 or 5 or whatever it is. And then, you know, you start seeing people say, well, loyalty goes with trust, because if you're not loyal, I can't trust you. And true, but if you're not loyal, or if you're trustworthy, so everybody starts going. But it's a good exercise that kind of defines a family and keeps them together.
How old are your kids?
Almost literally a week away from 17. So it's 18, 17-ish, and 14. So they're 2007, 9, and 11. No.
My son just turned 17, so we're kind of in the same range. And it's interesting because you can begin to have those conversations with kids that age. You know, if your kid was like 5, they're not really going to get it. But like, have you gone through this exercise with your kids?
Yeah.
And what was the thing that they fought about the most?
Woohoo! Like, here comes Mommy and her woohoo things. It was a long time ago. Actually, you know what?
Some eye rolling.
Yeah, but I think it would be good to do it again, because now they're much older and they might understand more and see it differently.
Yeah.
We came, and I have it on my fridge. We have love, laughter, trust, generosity. Love, laughter, trust, generosity, grit, authenticity, family, and we have each other's back.
Yeah, I like those. So how much was that? 7, 8,
10?
What was that? 10. Okay. How would you rank those differently for you personally, as opposed to collectively as a family?
You know what? It's very interesting, because that conversation has happened, and it's completely normal that things might change. Experience in life make you, you know, a betrayal, loss, an expectation that didn't come through, or something that disappointed you might change your values. So it's not I stand for this and that's it, you know. Like if you told me
they're going to evolve.
Lawyer, I would have questioned your sanity. if you had asked me that you're going to do insurance and planning, I
Right.
would send you to the doctor. But life changes, and it's also something that I'm trying to tell them it's okay to change your mind.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, without going to psychological therapy, etc., everybody wants to please their parents in a way or another. And what I'm trying to, I mean, there are certain bare minimums, respect and so on, that are non-negotiable, but they need to start by being happy with themselves and with their decisions. And I'm not proposing that they jump from architecture to engineering to teaching to yoga instructor to soccer player to astronaut, because they're the perennial students at some point, like, dude, pick lane. But it's absolutely fine to change your mind.
Mm-hmm.
And if your values changed, that's fine. And rest assured that the day you partner up, you have a spouse, boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever it is, there's going to be a shift there.
Right. And it's going to be more of a conversation and what's best for the couple, not necessarily what's best for each individual.
Yeah.
Yeah, you get those layers, and then you get kids, and it's like what's best for the family.
Correct.
Yeah, 100%. What is like, as you think back about those moments in your life, maybe one or two where you had I think I want to do this. I'm not sure it's going to work, but I'm going to try anyway. Like, it seems like with the shifts that you've had in your life, I suspect you've come across a few of those moments. Would you like to talk about one and why you did what you did, or why you think you did what you did? I don't know that we can actually ever truly know why we do something.
Well, my first thought was that when I was maybe 5 or 6, I was convinced that I was going to be a taco maker. So,
Wow.
because I went to a restaurant and the guy was so fast with a knife. I'm like, ooh, that's cool. I wanted to be a taco maker. Why didn't I pursue that career? Because it was not financially viable, period. Then when
there's some pretty successful taco trucks near me. I don't know. You might have.
Yeah, but the food business is savage. Oof.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's a hard business.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And this taco place was not particularly a Michelin star place. It was like a hole in the wall, but he was very impressive. So then my second moment of I want to do this, but I'm not entirely sure, was literally when I was signing up for university. There were 3 lines. One was business, the middle one was law, and the third one was actuarial science. And I liked the 3. So my decision was, which one is more solid going forward? So I said, actuarial sciences might be a little bit more siloed, so business or law. Business or law. And I said, whichever line goes first and faster, that's the one. So that's how I picked law.
Wow.
I know. But this is a university that has a big business component. So they kind of overlapped, and you could do courses between the 2 courses. So that was the second one. But I think the biggest one was when after doing the branding exercise, and I realized what I really like, public speaking, normalizing the money conversation, removing all the noise that people have in their financial lives. There's so much noise. It's not lack of information. It's too much information. You should do this. You should do that. You should do this. I'm like, you should sit down and think what you want to do, what works for you, what works for your family, and so on, as opposed to hang on.
Need to unmute.
Yeah, no, my little canine is unpleased.
Yeah, it happens.
So let me go back to, but really where I kind of hit the spot was when I saw that I like public speaking, I like normalizing the money conversation, I like bringing the message to families that if they truly value harmony in the family, they need to talk about money, they need to plan, they need to share the plans. There's nothing worse than finding out the plan through a will post burial.
Well, what I love, the word that you said that really resonated with me, especially given the story that you told me about you and your dad, is normalizing the money conversation. Because if it had been normalized in your family, that situation may have turned out completely different, right?
We would have known we were in trouble. I mean, we had two houses. Yeah. One was sold, and then the other one was sold, and then the other, and you know, the little kids turned into backpacks, and to right, to the left, duck, go. Come on, people. And I don't know, like something that if I had a magic wand in Canada, you cannot leave the dealership with a new car unless it's insured. But if you have a kid, as long as the kid is snug in the baby car seat, you're good to go. You should not be able to leave the hospital unless there's some kind of coverage on the kid. So at least if you get hit by the next car, you don't leave that 4-week-old kid without a father and $25,000 in debt because they have to put the father or the mother somewhere.
Right. Wow.
But it goes back to financial literacy. And then if people had financial literacy, then people would vote differently because then they see the implications of their decisions more long term. And financial plans need to look at not just next year and how to save on taxes. Financial plans have to have stress tests as to what happens if the market collapses, or what happens if you lose your job, what happens if you lose your health, what happens if you lose your spouse, what happens if abracadabra, you got twins. Like I know someone who went from 1 to 5 in 3 years.
Wow. Yeah. I think they should be probably looking at their plan, right? So, okay. I want to go back because you said you spent a few years. So let's say 2012 to, 2015 or so, kind of getting the credentials in place, getting comfortable, getting, learning this new occupation, getting some credibility. So you get through that first phase. And let's face it, a lot of entrepreneurs, solopreneurs, they don't make it through that first phase, right? So it's something to even get to that first kind of cut where it's like, okay, I've got an actual business and I'm starting to get customers, get clients, what have you. When you got to that point, then what are you trying to create with the business and how did you go about doing that?
Well, it's work in progress. And as you say, to be fair, when you join the business, they say, you want a profitable business, join us, sell insurance or sell investments. They get the list of your 200 closest friends. You go out, you attack them all. Everybody hides. Then you sell 3 things and people change their mind. They cancel the policies. Then you start making phone calls. People say, no, 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 no. The first 3 or 5 no's, you brush them off. But when you have to feed your kids and you get the 6th or 7th no, then it gets scary, right? I was never in that position, fortunately. So I had the luxury of being able to build this in a slow, I wouldn't say slower, but not as stressful environment. Now, is this fully done? No.
Of course not.
This is work in progress. And I hope it always is work in progress because otherwise, what's the point, right? I continue to grow the team. I'm inviting other advisors who have been in the business, for 30, 40 years to consider joining me in a way that they have a place where to leave their clients and have a succession plan for their clients and not just leave them random in case they just literally keel over. Well, I can say that nicer, in case they pass away. But and also, younger advisors to literally join my movement. My movement is not sell, 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 sell. It's plan, plan, plan. And we're a planning firm first and helping other Canadians and potentially cross-border, if I have my wishes come true, to normalize the money conversation, go slow to go fast, and stop believing in, my buddy told me that crypto is going to make me rich. Yeah, it's also going to make you poor. So use common sense, like really stop allowing greed and terrible advice be the leader. Believe in yourself and, sit down and figure out what you want. And then with the help of other professionals, put your plan together and let's go. It doesn't have to be
Mhm.
incomprehensible. It doesn't have to have financial models for 25 pages that nobody's going to look at. It's really important to have a close relationship with your advisor. When you reach out to your
Uh-huh.
clients, it's not to sell them. It's really just to see, hey, any changes? What's going on? Are you still, did you have more kids? Did you change your house? Where do I send this? What's going on? Like a friend.
Yeah. Yeah. So your I want to use the word catchphrase, but that's the wrong word. Slogan, motto, is that it? Get your house in order, right? That's your podcast too. Like, what do you think certainly there's a financial component to that, but what do you think someone needs to do to fully, like in all aspects of their life, get their house in order? And where do you feel like you are in that process?
First of all, I have to be humble enough to know that your house always needs some kind of tweaking, firming, adjusting, and so on, right? So be humble enough to understand that you need help. Also humble enough to understand that if you could do it alone, you would have done it already. Right. So that's the second. Third is go back to basics. Why are you working so hard? What's the meaning you want to give to your wealth? Understand your number. When can you retire? How do you want to retire? How's your health? How's your family? Are you going to be responsible for your parents? Do you have kids that are still on the payroll by choice or by force? What's your spending speed? What's your earning capacity? Are you tax efficient? Do you have a will? Is it up to date? Is it properly funded? Is it properly understood? Who's doing your taxes? Is it someone who's planning your taxes, or is it someone who's just filing your taxes? And it's an ongoing conversation. The same way everybody goes to a doctor's appointment. Well, everybody should go to the doctor.
Yeah.
And everybody should work out, and everybody should, because we know that's good for you. The same thing goes for your financial house in order. And everybody has a house. And some are made out of bricks, like the Three Little Pigs, brick, hay, or what was the other one?
It was bricks, straw, and what was can't remember the third one.
The other one didn't work either.
Not brick. Yeah.
So, and just it starts with a conversation and understanding that from our side, we put a lot of time into these plans and we take it very seriously, and we keep everything super confidential. We sign NDAs, because it's a very personal conversation. We have the financials, but we also infuse them with the family dynamics, and every family is very different.
Yeah.
So that's what makes a house be in order or not.
How is that different from someone who is like an employee working a more traditional career? Let's say they're a lawyer or actuarial science or something of that nature, versus someone who's built and then sold a business. Are those different conversations?
Every conversation, I could be talking to twins, and every conversation is different. One thing is how much you make, which is fabulous, right? Whether you make $100,000 or $100 million, that doesn't matter. It's how you spend it. Are you enjoying how you spend it? Are there any frictions in your household that are becoming a problem? Is everyone aware of what's going on? Because sometimes the plan is in one person's head and the rest is not. A big one is we deal mostly with high income earners, like professionals, doctors, lawyers, accountants, and business owners. In their 30s, they're busy building the careers of their business and having kids and running around and dealing with daycares and the stress of life. In their 50s, there's a point where they start realizing that retirement might be knocking on their door, but they've mixed their identity with their profession. And that's a very, very tricky conversation, because when you ask people, well, what are you going to be the day you stop being a lawyer? And you see panic in their face. It's not a conversation that you have on a Tuesday and it's done. It takes years. It took you 30, 40 years to become the lawyer you are today, or the business owner. Right. we need to find you some purpose after that, right? Because in some
Hmm.
cases there's mandatory retirement, sometimes there's health issues, sometimes there's just loss of inspiration, but that doesn't mean you're going to give the business away, right? In some
Hmm.
cases the kids want to take over, some cases the kids want to take over but don't have the capacity, and so you need to have that conversation. We host these webinars for people who are exiting or thinking of exiting their businesses, because it's a
Ooh.
conversation. It takes.
What are the kinds of questions that come up on those? Because I mean that whole transition, whether it's retirement or the sale of a business, that identity shift. I mean, it's massive, and I think people really underestimate it.
It takes, again, it takes a team. The first question is,
Yeah,
are you ready to let go?
yeah,
What if you hire a CEO? Oh, that
uh-huh.
sounds great. What if the CEO decides something against what you want? Oh, I fire him. So then maybe you're not really
Right,
ready to let,
right,
right?
yeah,
Um, what about if your daughter takes over? Oh, that'd be
uh-huh.
great. What did she study? Oh, she's in, neuroscience. I'm like, you build screws. How does that work? And
Yeah.
she might be super bright, but does she know what a business takes? So it's
And
either,
does she even have any interest, right? Like a lot of times there's the question of like, oh, well, my son's going to take over, my daughter's going to take over. They have no interest in what you do or any desire. And, they don't want to disappoint you. So they're going to act like they're the whole dynamic, right? Yeah.
or what I see a lot is G1 passes to G2,
Uh
G2
huh.
takes it and continues, and G3 says, oh, I want this, but here's what we're going to do. We're going to automate this, we're going to automate that, we're going to outsource that to India, we're going to do this. And then G1 and G2 are like, oh my Lord, what's happening here? These people are crazy.
Yeah.
And it actually works.
Uh huh.
So it's not a one and done conversation, and that's why I always tell people talk about it a lot and tell your
Mhm.
kids the day. Don't just share the, oh, we had a massive sale this year. We had the best year of our lives. No, tell your kids the time that, how many people say I had to sleep in my car because I couldn't make payroll, or I
Right.
had to, you know all the bad stories. You learn from bad stories. You rarely learn from good stories.
Did you have any bad stories building your business? Any stories of
Oh
that
God.
nature? Yeah.
Yeah, like the time somebody said that she would help me develop the whole philanthropic side of things and needed money to live off. So I said, okay, I can support you for a bit, and
Uh-huh.
didn't do squat and left the business with a big check, and
Ooh.
then pulled a Rachel card on me. So it was lovely.
Oh.
That was not good.
Did
Then,
did did trust go up as a value after that for you? When
oh
you were
yeah,
talking about those events that like shift things around, right? It's like, oh, I really gotta.
yeah, and
This
and the
is
other
way
thing I
more
do
important than
now
I
is I
thought.
don't do the
Yeah.
hiring. I work with
Uh huh.
recruiters
Uh
because I know that I have this tendency to rescue puppies, and
huh.
and then I hire people that I shouldn't. So now I work with recruiters, and I mean it's unfortunate, right? Because you like to trust people, but
So I had a client like similar kind of situation. I don't know that she would have described it as rescuing puppies. I think the way that she would have described it more like, I don't know if you remember the Harry Potter books, but like Dumbledore tended to see the best in everyone. Like
yeah,
she was like that, right? She would
yeah,
see their potential, not where they were.
guilty.
And it got her in. I mean, I'm the same way. It got her in trouble, and so she didn't solve it through recruiting. What she did was she like built a team of skeptics around her to like challenge her thinking with every hire, and it's worked relatively well. But it's I think as the builder of a business, we have to be kind of unrealistically optimistic, unreasonably optimistic, or else we'd never do it.
Yeah, you need to be a tad crazy. No,
Yeah.
I'm 100% like that. I guess my issue, and I'll bring it up to my therapist, is I expect people to behave and treat. the business or me or the world or whatever situation, the way I would treat them with honesty and relentless commitment. And if I make a promise, I follow through.
Yeah.
And it happens to be that not everybody's like that. So
Right.
I just say karma will deal with it. That's fine.
Yeah. How have you tried to manage for that tendency? Like, how do you approach your relationships now, work and personal, differently because you've realized that about yourself?
It's not that easy. It's a natural rubber band that goes back to trusting and seeing the potential in people.
Yeah.
Same thing. I am surrounding myself with more skeptical people who are less emotionally involved with the venture. Call it midlife crisis. I'm also purging a lot of people out of my life, but it's deeply ingrained that I do believe in the good of people.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'll just leave it to karma to untangle the thing.
It's interesting. I think about my dad died a long time ago. He was 52 when he died, and my mom is about to turn 90. So my mom has been around many more years than my father. But what I still remember, I remember having this realization, and I don't know if they ever explicitly said this to me, but my mom and my dad had very different operating principles in the world. My mom, she would not trust you until you earned her trust. And she's still that way.
Yeah.
Her initial impulse is that this person wants something from me, and I'm going to put up a wall, and then I'm gradually going to lower that wall. My dad was the exact opposite. He would, and I think he said this to me explicitly. He said, I trust people until they prove they can't be trusted.
Yeah.
And I tend to be a little more like my dad, but I do find myself kind of vacillating. And it's interesting, like, just to think about yourself as a person and how you operate in the world and how that impacts you, good and bad, right? Because no rule is perfect.
I know, and I'm trying my best, and I'm nowhere near perfect, but I just don't like hanging around. I mean, I don't know your mom, but I do have people who everybody's out to get them.
Yeah.
What if not? Like,
I know, right? What would that open up for you?
Great people, and I've met incredible people. And sometimes, they're there for a season, a reason, and then they move on, and then you had a great time. And ultimately, what I don't want to have is regret that I didn't give someone a shot. Also,
right.
Maybe slow down when allowing people into your life. That's something I'm trying to do. And
a little more measured.
And I think with time, you allow your passion and your vision to continue driving, but not driving you into the abyss. Because then you have to pull your little cart out of the abyss, and it's heavy. But
well, you said you were what was the word that you were purging? You were purging some relationships from your life. You want to? I'm not asking you to name names, obviously, but like where? Because I've noticed that too. It's like there's people, and sometimes it's people I've known for a long time, and just like energetically, we've gone in different directions, and it just doesn't make sense anymore, right?
And it's fine, and it's not that you declare war on them. But it's kind of like the square peg in the round hole. At some point, you're the square peg, and you start making a hole here, right? So it's like if you let it go, and I have this concept of a bookshelf, and there's certain books that I don't have time to read right now, so I put them there, and I might go back to them, or they're just part of my past, and that's fine, right? They were there, and there's some books that have come back many years later because now our kids are the same age and we have more things in common, but for the longest time we had nothing in common. So it's a combination, but I'm trying to learn how to let go. And is it Tim Grover? I think I don't. I'm terrible with names, but he wrote a book and he gave a presentation last year that talked about when you're in business and generally speaking in life, you have to be heartless. And I was like, what? It's not that you're mean, but you have to think less with your heart, particularly in business. Because if you let your heart drive, you might not be doing what's best for the business. And the business is not just you, because you're responsible for an entire payroll and an entire group of people and their families and so on. So you need to be much more calculated and take it easy and make more thought through decisions than with your heart. So the heartless concept, I'm like, I'm going to chew on that one because I'm all heart. I like.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know that I don't know. Yeah, where I went is there's like head, and our head can, like, the rational side of us. I mean, it'll play it safe and blah blah blah. But if we try to choose things intellectually, we often get led astray. And then there's heart, and that can lead us astray too. And then there's gut also, right? And it's like, how do we navigate? Like, gut is an interesting one, right?
So first of all, principle one. Well, there are many principles. There is no, I'm going to use my best English here, no jerk without an idiot. So you have to be an idiot for the jerk to exist. Rule one. Rule two, the head is above the heart for a reason. Use it wisely. And rule three, that should really be rule one, is trust your gut, because when you have your gut and your gut says blah, and you go against blah, and it will for sure 1000% every single time come back to bite you. The anger and the wrath that boils within me, knowing that I knew it and still I went against my gut.
That's the worst feeling, I think. That idea of like, I knew I should have done that. And you don't, because like there's some rational looking reason why it's not the right time, or it's not practical, or it's not whatever, right? Instead
what if I miss out? But maybe she is great. Maybe that could work. And your tummy is going like, you're not sleeping. You're like, and that's the universe or whatever spirit from, I don't know, from hell or heaven or somewhere in between. And you don't listen to that, and it happens. Oh, that's when I've hated myself the most. And then you forgive yourself and you do it again.
Hopefully a little bit less or a little bit differently as time goes on. I know one thing I've become more attuned to lately is just when I'm with someone, how does my nervous system feel?
Yeah.
Like, can I relax with them? Do I feel a little bit on guard? Like, am I mistaking excited for actually on guard? Like what? And just like delving into the nuances, because I think our nervous system tells us way more than our head could ever tell us.
If we listen. Yes.
If we listen. Yeah. And that actually means slowing down enough to be able to listen. And most of us we are primed for action all the time, and we're caffeinated and we're driven and we're boom, 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 boom. And when you're in that kind of mode and that kind of drive, you think very narrowly in a very focused way, and you don't see the thing getting ready to jump at you from in the bushes that's over here. It's like you totally miss it.
Yeah, I'm a mix of Tamper, the little rabbit with Bambi, combined with the whatever that thing is in Ice Age that's looking for his nut.
Yeah.
It's like squirrel.
Scratch? Is it Scratch?
It probably got me like, oh,
yeah, something. Yeah, I know. Yeah. Always looking around. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's more about, and that goes back to what I'm trying to talk when I talk to clients, and B, implement in life, is be more intentional. Really think about what works for you, not your neighbor, not your golf buddy, not your grandma, not your parents. What works for you, and try.
How do we do that? That's a great place to end on, because like, how do we actually filter through all the noise, parental expectations and stories, societal expectations and stories, what we see in the news every day, what we, read in Fortune or Forbes or the Wall Street Journal? Like, how do we actually get in touch with what we want?
Oh God. Well, it sounds super basic, but I've been doing it, and I have to say, the first time I did it it was so hard, so hard. Uh, One of my naturopath said your cortisol levels are, I don't know, 6 or 7 times above any normal level. I'm like, am I gonna explode?
Wow.
And she goes, yeah, maybe. I'm like, okay. So she said, I need you to sit down, okay, and for 10 minutes, not do anything, not write, not think,
Uh-huh.
not empty the dishwasher, not put, after those 10 minutes, there
Yeah.
can be absolutely zero byproduct from those 10 minutes. I can do that. Try it. You try
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. Yeah.
The first day, I think I made it to 15 seconds. And then I just start thinking, oh, I have to do, I have to, I have to, I have to, I have to. I haven't made it to 10 minutes. I think the
Wow.
hardest I've done is something like 3.5. It's hard. So try it.
Yeah.
It's,
Well, that's basically, it's a different spin on it, but, you could call that meditation. I
well,
mean,
in theory, but meditation, you're focusing on your breathing. So here
right.
you have to
Most
be,
meditative traditions still give you something to do, right? Focus on your breath, count, say a mantra, right? Because of exactly what you're pointing at, that resistance to doing nothing.
if you make it to 5 minutes, you're my hero. I am 8 months in and I'm at 3 minutes
How often do you try to do this?
every day.
Wow. Just once a day?
Yeah. I'd go
What
bananas.
are your cortisol levels like now?
I'm not testing
Yeah.
them. I would say probably like
There's the financial planner not following her own advice. Like, take a look, make sure you know.
no. I mean, there was a point and I'm not proud of it. I about what was it? Probably around 2017, 18. I got home, and of course, I have kids, and they're 9, 7, 5, or whatever they were.
Mm-hmm.
And I had all the symptoms of having an aneurysm. I couldn't speak.
Oh, wow.
And I got to the hospital, and one of my friends was a top neurosurgeon, blah, 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 blah. And when 5 specialists welcome you at the hospital in Toronto, there's something wrong.
Not a good sign. Yeah.
Anyway, they tested, poked me, pricked me, pulled everything, tested everything upside down, shook me around, MRI, ATT, PTT, OPP, everything. And it was exhaustion.
Wow.
So when you cannot speak, that was, I'm like, okay, I think I have to change something.
Yeah.
And then people say, oh, you make it look so easy. I'm like, oh, the fact that all my
but no one
are still original, it's a mystery.
No one knows what's going on in here, no matter what you present out here.
No, and that's where the book written by Gabor Mate is so true. When the body says no, it's a good book. It kind of nags you, but it's worth a read.
Yeah. Well, I think you highlighted something that I think is always our instinct. You said, well, I haven't measured my cortisol again, right? It's like if we're afraid of bad news, whether it's financial or psychological or emotional or whatever, medical, like, well, we put it off.
I do have an appointment, but
yeah. Well, but how do we, and you make it the appointment, right? Like, how do we put ourselves in the position of, oh yeah, I'm going to take the risk of getting some small bad news now in the interest of not having bigger bad news later. It's always, I mean, that's true in the financial planning, right? Like, if I'm a mess now, I'm going to be a much bigger mess later if I don't do anything about it.
That's what I tell my clients. I'm like, I'm not the good news fairy. Okay. If there's a problem, I'd rather tell you now than having to tell you at 93. how do you feel about getting a job as a greeter at Walmart because you ran out of money?
Yeah.
So yeah, I do have my appointment, and I know she's going to want to test that. But I think I'm better. I think I've decided.
Well, good. Well, that kind of positive attitude is exactly the thing that's going to help, right? Well, listen, Elke, thank you for being on this episode of the Pick Now podcast. If people, we're going to put your bio and your contact info in the show notes. What's the best way for someone to reach out to you or get your attention if they're interested in finding out more about your story, your work, what you do, all that good stuff?
Probably, I mean, I'm very active on LinkedIn. So it's, linkedin.com/Elke Rubach, ELKE RUBACH. That's easy, or the website. I guess LinkedIn is the easiest. We do have a newsletter, all sorts of stuff. That's easy to find. There are not many of me there.
Great. Well, thank you very much for coming on the podcast and having these conversations. It was a pleasure. And for those of you watching or listening, thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you next time. Take care.